Welcome back to Hardball. Another thing that separates President Trump from his predecessors is the way he talks about his own intellect. Throughout his campaign in his first year in office, President Trump has made it a point to boast about his intelligence. Let's watch a few examples.
So here I am, great schools, great brain, great success. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. Look, I went to the great Wharton School of Finance. I was very good. I was a good student and all that stuff. I was a good student. I always hear about the elite. You know, the elite, they're elite. I went to better schools than they did. I was a better student than they were. If Putin likes me and if he thinks I'm a good, smart person, which, I mean, I hope he believes it, I am. Actually, he's right. I am brilliant. You know that, right? And then they say, "Is Donald Trump an intellectual?" Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Well, as I've mentioned before, Trump's apparent need to prove his intelligence is reminiscent of Fredo Corleone, who famously insisted in The Godfather 2 that he was smart, despite evidence to the contrary. Here he goes, Fredo.
I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb, I'm smart, and I want respect.
We're back with our guests, Shannon Pettypiece, Dana Milbank, and Jason Johnson. It would be ludicrous to compare that to anyone else except Donald Trump. But the fact is, Trump does keep saying it. I know words. I have great words. What does that mean? I have great words.
I was out doing the departure when he walks to get on Marine One, and he came over and did this little impromptu press conference with the reporters. And that was one of those moments where he looked at this big gaggle of reporters around him and said, "I'm smart. You know, I went to good schools." Like, he was still trying to tell us, to convince us, like, why don't you like me? And still trying to seek our approval. And still that guy from Queens who wants everyone to like him and wants everyone to think he's smart and he's a big deal.
And
well,
even Fredo never challenged his brother to an IQ test.
Look what happened to Fredo.
As this president did with his own Secretary of State. And can you imagine?
Fredo, unfortunately, is not where you want to end up in the canoe, you know, with the guy behind you, as you were saying the Hail Mary, and that was all an assassination plot. It was terrible.
No, you don't want to wind up that way.
Anyway, I think that to have to claim you're smart is probably the first example of you're not being smart.
Look, when the emperor says, I'm the emperor, you know the empire's done. Michael Jordan never has to say he's the best, right? When you know what you are, you don't have to say it. And the fact that he's constantly talking about the things that he is and the things that he does when he has nothing to show for it.
Okay, I'll give you two examples of bragging at work. First of all, Babe Ruth, he pointed to center field and hit the ball, the next pitch, over the center field wall, about 350 feet. Okay, that's one. Ready? Muhammad Ali, 6th round. I'm sorry, he would do it. He delivered. This guy doesn't deliver.
That's the thing.
It's all right to brag if you're actually going to do it.
Exactly. You got to back it up.
It's not bragging if you've really done it.
Who said that? Muhammad Ali.
It was Fredo. No.
Anyway, though Trump says he's smart, it seems like healthcare may have outsmarted him. Let's watch.
I have to tell you, it's an unbelievably complex subject. Nobody knew that health care could be so complicated.
Hillary Clinton taught us that in the 90s. I mean, one thing you got to hand it to Hillary. She went and waded into that pool first and saw how deeply confrontational it is. The doctors, the insurance companies, the pharmaceuticals, everybody's got their hand in this thing, and everybody wants a bigger piece.
And he's done there's been a few moments like that where he says, hey, listen, this is tough stuff. This is harder than anyone would have thought. And yes, it is.
Except American history should have taught him all of that.
Right. And you had no previous political experience. You never held a political office. You only knew people in Washington from fundraisers. Yes, it is difficult. And maybe if you acknowledge that, people might give you an easier time.
Dana?
You know, the truth is, for somebody who criticizes Trump for all kinds of things, I don't think the guy is dumb by any stretch. You don't get to this place by being dumb. He's not aware of a lot of the things that he needs to do. He's not versed in the business of governing.
For example,
name
the areas, Dana, you know nothing about. Come clean.
We could talk movies and sports. I might come up missing.
How about
Manhattan real estate?
I'll give you hockey. I never grew up. The Flyers came to Philly after I left. I'm sorry. I don't know. There are vast areas. I knew when Versace was killed. I said, "Who is he?" I had no idea who he was. I know nothing about fashion or design, but I'm allowed to. Anyway, I'm not a designer. Anyway, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson expressed a different view of President Trump's intellect. He called President Trump a moron after a July 20th meeting at the Pentagon with members of Trump's national security team and cabinet officials. That's according to NBC News, a pretty good source. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah,
a moron. What do you think they overheard the word? I'm going to speak more on that issue. Remember Saturday Night Live? I'm going to talk more on that.
I don't think there was any confusion there. And part of it, that's part of why he's constantly saying, oh, I feel so smart, oh, I feel so intelligent. But I'll tell you this, especially when it comes to healthcare, there are problems. Trump has done some terrible things on race. He's done some terrible things on national security. But healthcare is the single greatest thing that I don't just blame him. I blame the whole Republican Party. You had 8 years to have a plan. You had one job. And the fact that they couldn't come up with a plan when he got in office is ridiculous.
The great irony is Obama did their plan.
Exactly.
It was from the Heritage Foundation. It was a conservative approach. It wasn't single payer. It wasn't Medicare for all. It was basically a corporate business solution.
Exactly.
We're relying on lots of profits for the insurance world, lots of pharmaceutical business that love this thing.
Yes.
Right?
And to go back to our earlier point, maybe if he didn't despise everything Obama did so much, he could have fixed it, and we'd have a better healthcare system
Why didn't
today
he do
than we
it?
did a year
Why doesn't
ago.
he do what we all recognize it's right to do, and he doesn't do it? Why doesn't he do what we tell him to do?
The best part of that Tillerson thing is he went on and on about how NBC was reporting on this nonsense, but he did not actually deny that he called the President of the United States a moron.
Well, he couldn't admit it either. Well, there's another character from the movies that Trump sometimes takes after, Jimmy Two Times of the film Goodfellas. We've got President Two Times now, and that's ahead. This is Hardball, where the action is.